and busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not a problem, is it?
No, thank goodness it's not.
Are we live streaming?
It ain't too late at any age to hold on to a dream.
Not yet.
One more.
Now we are. Good morning and welcome to the Indy Boomer Show. I'm Mary Pat McKee and I am sitting here this morning with Ann Poindexter from Altman, Poindexter and Wyatt.
Correct.
An attorney firm here. Are you Carmel or Noblesville?
We're in Carmel.
You're in Carmel. I thought you were. You used to be in Noblesville because you used to be with Campbell, Kyle and Profit, which a lot of you may know because they were around for like 150 years or.
And we had offices in Carmel and Noblesville.
That's right. That's why I wasn't sure. Anyway, back to the cover of the magazine, brand new. That is our May issue. That is David and Bill Benner of the Pacers. They both work for the Pacers, but Bill, he wrote for the Star for 33 years. So anyway, great article about those guys. They really helped direct a lot, or not direct, but follow the sports that have developed Indianapolis into the town that we are today. So pick that up at any Kroger or Marsh store. And then we would like to thank our sponsors, well, Noblesville Trophy and signs, Logan Street signs and banners. I've only said it for 4 years and I still can't get it straight. We appreciate the opportunity to be here and be able to have this time to talk about things that are important, and you've got some really good, important stuff. Well, she always does, but we are going to talk about some new things and some things we have talked about in the past, but they're important enough to bring up again at this time of the year.
Right.
And one of those is guardianship. You want to go speak to that?
Sure. Well, I thought we ought to talk about guardianship today because I've been getting a lot of calls recently about guardianships.
And what that means.
And what it means, and I've been getting some calls with people that are frustrated with some of the limitations about guardianship, and so I thought maybe we ought to talk about some of the limitations.
Yes, I think we should, and I think, one thing that I think confuses a lot of people, still confuses me, and we've talked about it, is the difference between the guardianship and the, tell me what I'm looking for.
Power of attorney.
Power of attorney.
Right. And so let's start there.
Okay.
So we have talked about powers of attorney several times before. And powers of attorney are still a very important tool, which I want everybody to have a power of attorney.
Right.
And sometimes a power of attorney lets us avoid a guardianship.
Okay.
I can give you a power of attorney, and so I'm giving you permission to do things for me.
Right.
I can give you a power of attorney that lets you do financial transactions for me, make medical decisions for me. So you can see that that's a very useful tool in letting us assist aging relatives.
Right. Our parents are,
However,
yes.
Some of us have aging relatives that are not cooperative and who don't want our help from time to time, or don't like or appreciate the help sometimes that we're giving them. And so what people need to understand is, just like I can give you a power of attorney, I can take away your power of attorney. And so suddenly that useful tool is not there anymore.
Right.
And there are also some limits to the power of attorney.
Well, and also, while we're on power of attorney, can't you just be a power of attorney for just financial or just medical?
Absolutely. And we've talked about that before. Powers of attorney can be very broad, where I can give you the power to do anything I could do myself.
Right.
Or I can give you a very narrow power of attorney. I want to go buy that house and the closing is tomorrow, but I'm going to be in court. So I'm going to give you the power of attorney to go to the closing for me and sign all of the paperwork and sign my name 50 times at the closing tomorrow. A very narrow or limited power of attorney.
Okay.
So
I think
they
that's
can be
important for
broad,
people to know.
limited, or anywhere in between.
Right.
Now, I'm going to completely change for just a second, but on powers of attorney, because we're sitting here and school is about ready to get out
Right.
for the year, and so I want to make a little plug. about some of us that have children that are going to be going to college, or grandchildren that are
Yeah,
going to
they're
be
watching,
going to
yeah.
college for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are children. I mean, that's
Well, they're children
what,
to us.
that's right. That's what I was going to say. We know they're children, and we
Right.
know they're still children when they're in college, but under the law, once they turn 18,
They're
they're
an adult.
adults.
Yeah.
So I've also, unfortunately, had clients who sent a child off to college who had some kind of a medical event, ended up in the hospital, and if that child is somewhere, you know, not just down the road in the hospital, and you're calling and trying to get information about that child in the hospital,
They won't give it to you.
you can't get it. It's protected healthcare information because that child is an adult.
Yeah, that's something you really don't think about.
And you don't think about it
Yeah.
because it's your child.
Right.
I mean, that's our mindset, and I understand that as a parent.
Right.
So for parents, grandparents, you know, guardians,
Yeah.
you know, because guardianships of a minor will terminate at 18.
Right.
But if you're still trying to assist that child, then think about sitting down and talking with that young person about giving you a power of attorney so that you can help them with their checking account, help talk to the school if they have a problem at the university,
Right.
and certainly
Because you can't even talk to them at the university?
No.
Even though you're paying the bill, maybe?
No, the university doesn't care where the money comes from, but it's the child's education records, and that
Right.
child, remember, is an adult under the
Right.
eyes of the law. And
Right.
so it's confidential, and you
Huh.
can't access it.
Wow, that's
So,
unbelievable.
an important plug that all, 18-year-olds really need to consider giving mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, guardian, friend, some adult a power of attorney
Right.
in case they need
Something
some
happens.
help.
Yeah, that's pretty serious
and
stuff.
as we know, 18 to 22-year-olds still need
A
help.
little supervision.
They still need a little help from time to time.
Yeah.
Still need a
I
little
know
help
people
from
older
time-
than that need help from time to time.
I still need some help from time to time, but that's a different story.
Right. That's a whole other show.
Okay, now let's go back to guardianships.
Yes.
One of the struggles that I've had people call me about recently, there are three categories of issues, if you will, that
guardianship.
cause people to have real concerns about their elderly relatives. One is financial management issues.
Right.
Just don't
Makes sense.
think that they're handling the checkbook right, or they think people are taking advantage of them.
Right. See that a lot with the older people.
Right. The other issue is, healthcare or mental health issues in general. And then the third very significant issue is they may think that mom or dad or aunt is doing okay on financial and medication, but they just shouldn't be driving anymore.
Oh,
Because they've reached a point where they just shouldn't be driving
that
anymore.
is a tough one, taking the keys away from mom and dad.
And that is a tough one. And so what do you do? I mean,
We blamed it on the doctors.
well, and that is an option. But, in the March-April Indy Boomer Magazine,
No,
which
there's-
I believe you can access on your
Yep,
website, right?
indyboomer.com, yeah.
Okay. There is an article that one of my partners wrote about driving privileges.
That was a really good article, too.
And so if you have an elderly relative, and really the primary concern right now is just that you don't want them driving. You don't think that you need to do any other intervention. There is a BMV form
Really?
which somebody that is a power of attorney or a guardian or a doctor,
guardian, too, huh?
yeah, or
Okay.
a doctor can submit to the BMV requesting a driving review be conducted.
That'll
And
slow 'em
so, if the BMV gets that and they believe that the driving review should be conducted, then
Right.
they'll require it. And 9 times out of 10, in the cases I've been involved in,
That
if
does
the
it.
family really thinks that they shouldn't be driving, it's probably time that they shouldn't be driving.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, they can't pass those tests.
So they do have to, so this sounds kind of bad, but they make the senior come in and take the driving test completely
Yes.
over? Okay.
And there are private tests you can take. I mean, I've had some senior clients come to me and say, my family doesn't think I should be driving and I think I'm fine. And I've said to them, well, let's prove it to them then. Because I know some places.
AAA do that?
I don't know that AAA
There's
does.
somebody, I know what you're
but
talking about.
Crossroads does.
Okay.
And there's some other places where you can go and do private testing.
Yes.
And so I've been able to gently talk to some of my senior clients. And
Into doing that.
when it's not someone that they think is pushing them or adverse to them, but someone they think is on their side.
Right.
I've had a couple of occasions where I've taken them for the test, and when they've seen the results,
Yeah.
they've voluntarily given up their license.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if
It's
not,
hard. That's got to be one of the toughest things.
it's very hard.
Yeah, I think
it's
so,
very
too.
hard.
Yeah.
Okay. But as we've discussed before, if guardianship is necessary, and if that petition for guardianship is filed with the court, and if you receive guardianship, one of the things that I think we need to talk about, because I hear from people, is that it's not perfect either.
Right.
The power of attorney is not perfect in the sense that it can be terminated.
Right.
And a guardianship is not absolutely perfect either. And so here's one example. Social Security will be a frustration in a guardianship. The Social Security Administration obviously is a federal agency.
Right.
A guardianship order is from a state court. And so you would think logically that you take your court order and you go to the Social Security office and they'll recognize it and they'll start giving you the Social Security payments.
Right.
That seems logical, doesn't it?
Well, you said government, so I'm sure that it's not logical.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
They don't recognize or honor those court
Those
orders.
state documents.
And so they will do their own assessment
Yeah.
and decide who the representative payee should be for Social Security.
Now, how does that typically go?
Well, I can tell you as a practical matter that, the majority of the time, if we're getting guardianship for an elderly person, then they're going into some kind of a care facility,
Okay.
whether it's assisted living or whether
that's
it
typically
is
true.
long-term care facility.
Right.
And also been doing this long enough
Yeah.
that I've figured out with the Social Security Administration that they're much more likely to make those facilities the representative payee
than a person.
Than a person.
Yeah.
Because they know that they are getting the direct care
Right.
there.
Right.
Okay. That's not a fight worth fighting.
No.
Because
That's where it's going to probably go anyway, right?
right.
Yeah.
Those bills for care are always going to be more than the Social Security. So let the Social Security get applied there.
Right.
And work it out with the facility.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But I want people to understand, and I've started telling people who come in to get guardianship that no, it's not as simple as taking your order to Social Security.
Right.
If Social Security is being direct deposited into the checking account and you can get the bank just to substitute
Because
your
you
name
have-
as the guardian,
Right.
then you'll have a little reprieve on there for
Now, if you were a
while.
power of attorney and that money was deposited into their checking account, then that wouldn't matter, right? Because you got power of their financials. Right? Okay. Well, we're going to run out of time, but one thing I and I know we don't have time, but I think what's confusing too is what is the big difference between the power of attorney and guardianship, and how do you know which one to go for? And I think how you know is you call Ann and you ask her, or you go sit with her and she can explain all these different things, because it is confusing.
Well, and that's an important point. You know, whether you call me or you call some other lawyer, they are complicated issues.
Yeah.
And people that are dealing with aging parents or relatives need some assistance.
No, for
they at
sure.
least need
There's
some
no question about that.
advice, some direction. And so all of the articles, the legal, the financial, the fitness, all of those are good resources.
Yeah.
And they're wonderful. People should read them, but you also need to sit down and talk with someone.
Yeah, you really do, and if you're responsible for that, that's the best thing to do. And, well, it sounds like we got our topic for the next time you come back. We always have plenty to talk about. But anyway, there once again is the cover of the May issue of Indy Boomer, and you can pick that up at any Kroger or Marsh store. Don't forget, Sunday morning we have Boomer TV at 10:30 on Channel 8, Wish TV, and you can watch Patty Spitler host our show there. I think that's it. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Always
Happy
a
to
pleasure.
be here.
Always a pleasure. We will see you all next time. Thank you. Are we clear?
It ain't too late at any age to hold on to